Hi there again. In this lesson I'm going to look at fractions, but I'm looking at simplifying fractions this time. It's similar to the equivalent fractions lesson I did before, but we're going to something called simplifying. Now again, just to start off, a fraction looks like this. The top number is the numerator, bottom number is the denominator. The bottom number is how many bits the thing is split up into. The top number is how many you have. So for example there, we've got 3 green bits out of a total of 5, just to remind you there. Now in the last lesson, to create an equivalent fraction, we were multiplying the top and the bottom of the fraction by the same number to create an equivalent fraction. What we're going to do today is we're going to start with the bigger fraction, something like 3 out of 6, and I'm going to simplify that, get back to a simpler fraction, one with smaller numbers for the numerator and the denominator. They are the same fractions though, and they are equivalent, but smaller. So instead of multiplying the top and the bottom, what we're going to look at to simplify is divide the top and the bottom by the same number. Okay, let's look at some examples of simplifying fractions. So you've got to find an equivalent fraction to 2 over 4, but in a simpler form. So what we're looking to do here is we're looking to divide the top and the bottom by the same number. So we have to work out what number, what times table, sorry, is 2 and 4 both in. Now, this is quite an easy one to start, so hopefully you recognise they're both in the 2 times table. So you can divide the top by 2, and you can also divide the bottom by 2. And it's really important you do the same to the top and the bottom, or it doesn't generate an equivalent fraction. It creates something else completely different. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So there we've simplified this fraction and we've created an equivalent fraction. 2 out of 4 is the same as 1 out of 2, and we're happy. Right, let's move on to the next one. We've got 9 out of 12, or 9 twelfths. So again, you're trying to find a times table that they're both in. So 9 and 12, they're both in the 3 times table. Okay, so we'll divide the top by 3, and we'll divide the bottom by 3. So we'll do 9 divided by 3, which is 3, and 12 divided by 3, which is 4. So 9 out of 12 is the same as 3 out of 4, 3/4 and 9 out of 12. Right, sometimes the fractions are a wee bit harder to do. Sometimes you can't spot what times table they're in straight away, and you're generally always trying to find the biggest times table that they're in. So if you look at 8 over 20, now some of you might think, well, they're even numbers, they're in the 2 times table. You are correct at that. But the biggest times table that 8 and 20 are in is actually the 4 times table. They're not in the 8 times table. 8 is, but 20 is not in the 8 times table. So you can divide the top by 4, and you can divide the bottom by 4 to get your simplest fraction. You're always trying to find the biggest number here. So that would give you 2/5. Now, let's say, for example, you didn't spot that straight away and you did the 2 times table. You went, okay, they're in the 2 times table. So you divide the top by 2 and you divide the bottom by 2. Now that would give you 4 out of 10, or 4/10. Now what you want to do here, if you get into this situation, you think, will they both divide by something again? Or am I done? Have I got as slow as I possibly can? And again, if you're looking at 4 over 10, you should be thinking, well, they're both in the 2 times table as well, so you can divide the top by 2 and divide the bottom by 2 and get down to 2/5. And this process is longer, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. You can keep going and going and going as long as you get as low as you possibly can. 2/5 is the correct answer here in both situations. So you can do it quickly if you spot the biggest times table they're both in, or you can take your time and do it slower. It doesn't really matter.